This is Valley View News.
I believe it is important to have a health insurance.
Obamacare has made purchasing health insurance available through the online marketplace. Beekeepers and farmers are becoming worried and are looking for answers as to why thousands of beehives are dying off. The Navy SEALs have targeted a Kenyan man who was planning attacks against his own country's parliament building.
Hello and welcome to Valley View News. I'm Mona Adem.
And I'm Brenda Garcia. The Food and Drug Administration is inspecting less food facilities because of the government shutdown. Meanwhile, the U.S. Department of Agriculture will continue to oversee all meat production facilities. Past inspections show that FDA officials normally inspect about 80 facilities per day. FDA officials say with every day the government does not work, 80 facilities will go without federal inspections. The Federal Aviation Administration has also furloughed about 3,000 of its safety inspectors. They maintain airline safety and visit domestic and foreign maintenance stations.
Parks and national monuments are closed across the country. The Ronald Reagan Library is one of those parks. Valley View News reporter Dylan Connolly is in Simi Valley to see how tourists are being affected.
The Ronald Reagan Presidential Library is one of the many parks that are suffering under the government shutdown. The library, which is visited by almost 5,000 people on a normal weekend, is only expecting 500 people now. With parks and historic sites closed across the country, many tourists' plans are being ruined. Here at the Ronald Reagan Library, we're giving these pamphlets letting us know that because of the shutdown, half of the park would be closed. However, for some people, this ended up being a good thing.
We were surprised that it was closed, but then we came here and the volunteers, they were very helpful. I think it overall was not as bad as we thought.
The shutdown may be bad, but for some people, it offered a unique opportunity.
Actually, for us, it worked out quite well because we only had about 40 minutes to kill, literally. We're here for my son's hockey game up the road, and I read on the website that although the museum was shut down, the Air Force One pavilion was open and was free to the public. So actually the shutdown was very good for us.
The Ronald Reagan Presidential Library may be a lot more empty than usual, but tourists seem to be enjoying the trip even more now. In Simi Valley, I'm Dylan Connolly for Valley View News.
Obamacare signups have started this week through the online marketplace, but the healthcare.gov website has experienced some glitches. The AFP says visitors have been greeted with connection refused notifications and long waiting periods while trying to log in. Due to the online problems, some healthcare providers have postponed enrolling people.
Under the new law, people must purchase insurance by March 2014, or they may face a penalty fee. Valley View News reporter Camila Rambaldi has more on this story.
I think it's a shame that people who don't have health insurance are usually the people who can't afford it.
The new health reform, also known as the Affordable Care Act, requires everyone to have health insurance.
I had health insurance through my company. I got laid off.
Under the new law, anyone that doesn't have insurance by the March 2014 deadline may face a penalty fee that starts at $95. Some say this is fair.
Very good for everybody, the people.
It's absolutely fair. It is law of the land.
I didn't know about this.
Waldo Ochoa used to have health insurance.
Usually get my physical and everything, like all my checkups, and now it's just like, no.
Questions and concerns still remain with the Affordable Care Act, but some small businesses say it's a good plan.
It's going to take people with pre-existing conditions, and it's going to allow them to buy health insurance at a reasonable cost.
Insurance can be purchased directly through the online marketplace by selecting a plan of your choice. But because of the government shutdown, website administrators say there has been an overflow of visitors.
So right now we're at the panic stage in the ACA, and soon we have to start applying some logical solutions to whatever problems are put in front of us.
Fliegelman says the new health reform is a long process.
They shouldn't make us buy it, but I believe it is important to have a health insurance.
The enrollment period is still ongoing and it ends on March 31st, 2014. You have until that deadline to purchase insurance through the marketplace. Reporting in Northridge, this is Camilla Rambaldi for Valley View News.
The market continues to do poorly as the government shutdown continues. Since the start of the month, both the S&P 500 and the Dow Jones average have fallen or stayed flat. The Treasury has warned that if the debt ceiling is not raised by October 17th, the country could face a serious recession. Along with the stocks, government bonds have also fallen as the yield on the 10-year Treasury note fell to its lowest in 2 months. Strategists say the markets are focused on the debt ceiling issue.
6 Egyptian soldiers were killed in a drive-by shooting east of Cairo. The attacks come after a clash between police and protesters. At least 51 people were killed and more than 200 were injured. The attacks mark the latest in Egypt's turmoil since the removal of Egyptian President Mohamed Morsi.
3 soldiers were arrested in connection with the stabbing death of Army Specialist Tevin Geike in Lakewood, Washington. Police said it appears that race was not a motivating factor in his death. Earlier reports said police were investigating the stabbing as a possible hate crime. Witnesses said they heard a black suspect yell out a racial comment towards Geike, who was white. The groups exchanged words and 5 men got out of the car. One appeared to bump into Geike as they retreated back to the car. Geike had been stabbed and died at the scene. Geike was on his way to celebrate his upcoming discharge from the army.
The government of Kenya says it was a Kenyan terrorist who plotted an attack on the United Nations headquarters in Somalia. Abdul Qadir Mohammed was the man the U.S. Navy sailors tried to kill, but the U.S. troops reportedly failed to capture or kill him. The suspect was barricaded and protected by armed men. Kenya's National Intelligence Service listed Abdul Qadir as the lead planner of the plot against the UN.
The trial has begun in Ohio of a man accused of running a fake veterans charity. The man was identified as Bobby Thomas, but authorities say he has also been identified as John Donald Cody. Under the name Cody, he appears on the FBI's most wanted list for espionage. Thompson allegedly cheated donors out of almost $100 million. The charity was called the U.S. Navy Veterans Association and was headquartered in Florida.
A 20-year-old sexual assault suspect at UCLA has turned himself in to campus police. Daniel Hoyas surrendered after photos were released, allegedly showing him near resident halls where attacks took place. Hoyas allegedly grabbed a female student from behind and attempted to sexually assault her. He was transported to Los Angeles County Jail and held on a $1 million bail.
One of the motorcyclists being charged with assault in New York says he had no part in the beating of the SUV driver. The lawyer for Reginald Chance says that his client used his helmet to smash the SUV windows, but walked away before the beating started. The assault began when the driver of the SUV, Alexian Leon, bumped into the rear tire of a biker who had abruptly slowed down in front of him. That motorcyclist says he did not intend to block Leon's car. The group of bikers then surrounded the car and began smashing the windows and slashing the tires. Leon then accelerated and his car struck 3 more bikers. Chance says he was one of them. Leon's car was forced to stop by heavy traffic when the group of bikers pulled him out of his car and began to beat him. Chance is being held on $75,000 bail, and his lawyer says Leon should be investigated by a grand jury hitting Chance and the other bikers.
Undocumented immigrants will soon be able to apply for a California driver license. Governor Jerry Brown has signed a controversial bill making it possible. Valley View News reporter Judith Rutana has the story.
It's we the people that is making this happen today. So let's go out and sign it.
Governor Jerry Brown has signed AB 60, a bill that will give undocumented immigrants the right to obtain a driver's license. The public rushed the governor's desk, making it difficult for the media to get a shot at the historic moment. Activists who attended the event say the bill sends a clear message to the nation. This has a big impact on the entire country. California will be the example that we can't just keep going around our problems. We have to solve them. It also sends a message to undocumented immigrants.
It's telling the community, the immigrant community, from wherever they may be from, that California is a place that welcomes immigrants and that respects your right to drive and be able to get around.
The new licenses will differ from the current one.
The new driver's license will be labeled as driver's privilege instead of driver's license. On the back of the car, there will be a notice stating that the card cannot be used to establish the right to vote or the right to employment.
Some opposers of the bill don't agree with the markings on the new license. Senate President Pro Tem Darrell Steinberg doesn't think the markings should be an issue.
These fine distinctions mean little to people who are committed to our country and long to be recognized as legal with a path towards full citizenship.
Supporters of the bill say it will make California streets safer by ensuring that all drivers are properly trained and insured. They say it will affect all Californians.
It doesn't just affect the driver, it affects the family, since, we need a vehicle to get around, take our kids to school, go to work. Basically without a vehicle nowadays, you can't really do anything around here.
Senator Kevin De Leon says no one loses with this bill.
So regardless if you're white, you're Latino, you're black, you're African American, you're Republican, you're a Democrat, this is a win-win situation for all Californians.
About 2.5 million undocumented immigrants are believed to be in California. The Department of Motor Vehicles is expecting at least 1 million of them to apply for the license in the first year the bill is effective.
AB 60 will go into effect January 1st, 2015. It will make California the 10th state in the country to allow undocumented immigrants to hold driver's licenses. In Los Angeles, this is Judith Vertana for Valley View News.
A massive blizzard has buried South Dakota in almost 4 feet of snow. The storm was the biggest autumn snowfall to hit the state in 100 years. The blizzard downed power lines, dropped rain and hail on South Dakota, and caused tornadoes in Nebraska and Iowa. The storm was even too much for snow removal vehicles. Several plows reported getting stuck on the roads. As temperatures warmed, residents then had to be on the lookout for floods due to the melting snow.
Coming up in sports, we have more on the baseball playoffs with the Dodgers and Pirates in the lead, plus an Indy car crash caught on camera.
Oh, sweetheart. Gonna give you a hand?
No thanks, Dad. I got it.
Okay. I'm gonna go fix the lamp in your room.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of children in foster care who will take you just as you are.
There's no place like home.
Getting home safely is just a click away. But making sure your child is in the right seat is just one of the steps down the road to safer travels.
I don't know how it works.
Find the right seat for your little one's age and size.
We know what you told us.
There's no better way to get home safely. Know for sure that your child is in the right seat. Get all the facts at safercar.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
And today we have Ryan in sports. So Ryan, did you catch the Dodger game? And how excited were you to see that many homers in one night?
I did watch the game, and I got to tell you, I knew the Dodgers were going to come away with the win. But the way they closed out the game was incredible.
I know.
The Los Angeles Dodgers beat the Atlanta Braves 13-6 in Game 3 of the National League Division Series. The Dodgers had 13 runs in the game. This tied a franchise record for runs in a postseason game set in 1956. This was also the most runs the Braves have given up in the postseason. Carl Crawford and Juan Uribe both hit home runs. Hanley Ramirez has been the star of the series, getting his 6th extra base hit in just 3 games. The Dodgers are poised to move on to the National League Championship Series with a win in Game 4. The Pittsburgh Pirates are back in the postseason after 34 years of losing seasons. The last time the Pirates had any success in the playoffs was 1979. They are now 1 win away from moving on to the National League Championship Series. They just have to come up with a win over the St. Louis Cardinals in Game 4. Pirates closer Jason Grilli says the team is considered an underdog, but it's time to come out and win. Albert Pujols and his lawyers have filed a lawsuit against radio host Jack Clark. Clark claimed on his show that he knew for a fact from Pujols' ex-trainer that Pujols was using performance-enhancing drugs. The trainer denied the statement when the story went public. The petition says Clark was a struggling radio talk show host who is chasing ratings for his new show. If Pujols wins the lawsuit, he will donate the monetary damages to charity. The Denver Broncos beat the Dallas Cowboys 51-48. It was the fourth highest scoring game in NFL history. Cowboys quarterback Tony Romo had the best game of his career, the fifth quarterback in NFL history to pass for 500 yards and throw 5 touchdown passes in a game. But he had one costly interception in the last 2 minutes of the game that gave the ball back to the Broncos. They scored on a field goal as time expired to win the game. IndyCar driver Dario Franchitti was seriously injured in a car crash during a race in Houston. Flying debris from the crash injured 13 fans and a series official. Franchitti's car went airborne into the catch fence during the final lap of the race when he and another car collided. The 4-time champion fractured 2 vertebrae, broke his right ankle, and sustained a concussion. He was transported to a hospital and held overnight. 11 of the 13 injured spectators were treated on site. The Philadelphia Flyers have fired head coach Peter Laviolette after starting the season 0-3. Laviolette's record, including the preseason, is 1-8-1. Last season was the first time in his 5-year tenure as head coach that the Flyers missed the playoffs. Although he was signed to a 9-year, $51 million contract, Laviolette was seen as inconsistent. He has now been replaced with assistant coach Craig Berube. The Los Angeles Lakers lost to the Denver Nuggets 97-88 in the NBA preseason. The Nuggets are playing under their new head coach, Brian Shaw. Shaw had been considered a candidate among fans to coach the Lakers, but the Nuggets hired Shaw this past June after firing George Karl. Pau Gasol scored 13 points and got 4 rebounds in the game. Kobe Bryant is unlikely to play in the preseason while he recovers from a torn Achilles tendon. Team USA has won golf's President Cup for the 5th time in a row. The victory was sealed by Tiger Woods with a 2-putt on the final hole. For the 3rd consecutive time, Woods has clinched the victory for Team USA. The captain of the team was Fred Couples, who is now 3-0 as captain. And the 10-year history of the President's Cup, Team USA has won it 8 times. That's all for sports. Let's hope the Dodgers continue to move on in the playoffs. Now back to you.
Coming up next in entertainment news, Esquire magazine has announced the sexiest woman alive. Singer Lauryn Hill has been released from prison, and the latest on Miley Cyrus' publicity stunt.
Here's to the things that can keep us safe. Those we use all the time with hardly a thought. Those that are silently standing by to save our lives. And now, those that we carry with us everywhere we go. Many mobile devices will now bring you wireless emergency alerts, real-time information directly from local sources you know and trust. With the unique sound and vibration, you'll be in the know wherever you are.
Thank you for calling your GED Pep Talk Center. All right, now, are you ready for your GED Pep Talk?
Being nervous is okay. It just shows that you're serious about getting your diploma.
A lot of things are scary. Heck, I'm scared of clowns.
No quiero ir. No lo puedo hacer.
DMC, life in your pep talk style.
Just keeping it real, Debs. Just keeping it real.
Whatever motivation you need, we've got a pep talk for you. Get your GED pep talk and find free classes at yourged.org.
NFC, AFC, offensive linemen, defensive tackles, quarterbacks, and cornerbacks are all living united to ensure the academic success of millions of kids in our communities all the way to graduation day. But that won't happen without you. So take the pledge at unitedway.org. Make a difference in the life of a child. Suit up like your favorite NFL players and become a volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor with United Way.
Now over to Judith with our entertainment news. So Judith, did you watch Saturday Night Live? How would you rate Miley Cyrus as a host?
Well, her outfit definitely brought in some criticism, but her take on the government shutdown really stole the show. Miley Cyrus hosted and was a musical guest for Saturday Night Live. She gave some warnings at the beginning of the show about her performance. She stayed away from controversy throughout the show. One of her skits featured a parody of Michelle Bachmann in a video about the government shutdown. She also pretended to be Hillary Clinton in an MTV miniseries. Cyrus kept controversy and commentary away from her two musical performances. Grammy Award winner Lauryn Hill has just been released from federal prison. She is now on probation and will spend 3 months under house arrest. Hill was sentenced to prison in July after pleading guilty to tax evasion. She stopped paying taxes in 2005. Her total earnings for the time she spent without paying taxes totaled more than $3 million. In a statement, she says she stopped paying taxes to protect herself and her children. Warner Brothers' new film Gravity topped the box office this weekend.
Beautiful, don't you think?
What?
The sunrise.
The movie took in $55.5 million. That's a record for a movie released in October. The film is about 2 stranded astronauts and features stunning visual effects. Director Alfonso Cuarón said he was happy with the way it turned out, but he'd never do another space movie. The AMC hit show The Walking Dead is returning for season 4 on October 13th. The new season will have a more exciting storyline. Producers say fans of the series should expect to see more zombies. The show is the most popular television program for adults aged 18 to 49. The finale for season 3 brought in 12.4 million viewers, making it the most watched television drama in history. Halle Berry has given birth to her second child. Berry welcomed the boy with her husband, Oliver Martinez. The healthy baby was born in Cedars-Sinai Medical Center. His name, time of birth, and weight have yet to be announced. This is the couple's first baby together. And that's all for entertainment news. Now back to you, Muna.
The recent service called ride-sharing has become popular among commuters in California. Valley News reporter Strongman Awesome has more on this story.
Imagine that you're at the end of a weekend outing and you need to get home. Using a taxi is too expensive and reserving a limo is too flashy. About 2 years ago, 3 California-based companies, Sidecar, Uber, and Lyft, commoditized ride-sharing, making it affordable and accessible. Through an app on your smartphone, you can request, reserve, and pay for a car to pick you up and take you to your destination, all within minutes. The companies have been operating in Los Angeles since they resolved regulatory issues with the California Public Utilities Commission. On September 19, 2013, the CPUC unanimously voted to approve ride-sharing in the state permanently. The services have been received especially well in the last 2 months and seem to be a favorable alternative to taxis.
We love ride-sharing.
I love it. I like that I don't have to use cash.
They're on time. It looks fancy. You look cool coming out of one.
The LA Department of Transportation says that there still needs to be regulations put in place before ride-sharing is completely legal.
I spoke with Arnold Jackson of the Los Angeles Department of Transportation to see where rideshare operators stand in Los Angeles.
Technically, it's not legal until next year, but we're waiting for some regulations that PUC is putting in place, and until then, it's not legal.
Jackson commented that the regulations would be similar to those of taxicabs and would probably need to be enforced annually. Sadat Mordish, a taxi driver in Los Angeles, believes that services are killing his business.
I don't like that these Ubers and Lyft cars are taking business without paying. Have to pay for credit card machines, you have to pay for car inspections, for meter inspections. It's not fair.
The California State Supreme Court's decision will become law on June 1st, 2014. I'm Strongman Awesome, Valley View News, Los Angeles.
Bees all over the globe are dying at alarming rates for unknown reasons. Christiana Kelly has the story.
Farmers markets and grocery stores could have a lot less produce to choose from in the future.
What's your favorite fruit?
Strawberries.
I asked Ava how she would feel if there were no more fruits and vegetables.
Sad.
Ava's strawberries and many other fruits and vegetables are dependent upon honeybees for pollination. But something is happening to the honeybees.
And what we're finding is that we're approaching the colony and the bees are simply gone.
Scientists are calling it colony collapse disorder, and it caused 1/3 of colonies to die last year. Keith Roberts of the Los Angeles Beekeepers Association said he lost 50% of his hives recently. Entomologist James Hogue said any number of factors could be responsible for CCD.
There's enough things working against the bees that it's pretty tough.
couple of kinds of parasitic mites, viruses, fungi.
Hogue also said pesticides are a factor. In the 1990s, farmers started using a new type of pesticide called neonicotinoids. These pesticides are soaked into the seeds before they are planted, and the plant grows with the pesticide present in all parts of the plant. Roberts agreed that the neonicotinoids are not helping the bees.
There are reports of this phenomenon occurring in the early 1800s, and there weren't really pesticides back then, so the science is still out on that one. What we do know is it doesn't help.
Honeybees are responsible for pollinating 100% of California's almond crop. Bees also pollinate 90% of apple crops, asparagus, avocado, and many other vegetables. Local vendors and farmers could be hard hit financially if scientists cannot figure out what is killing the bees. On the bright side, as enjoyable as fruits and vegetables are, humanity will not perish without them. Grains like wheat and rice are self-pollinating and would become the staple of the human diet. Hopefully, for keepers like Roberts, a solution will be found soon.
All my peers and my colleagues suffered enormous losses, so much so that many of the beekeepers that taught me, are saying, I'm hanging up my smoker, I'm done.
Time magazine reported that Harvard scientists are working on robotic pollination techniques, but the technology is not quite ready.
One way you can help your local bee population is by planting bee-friendly plants in your garden. In Granada Hills, I'm Christiana Kelly, Valley View News.
Human supermarket checkers are superior to the self-checkout machines, but most surveyed supermarket shoppers believe the machines are quicker, especially because they have shorter lines. However, humans are more efficient because they are faster, are able to look up produce codes and bag the groceries themselves. One of the biggest problems with self-checkouts is that customers have to look up confusing codes. Economists say machines can only replace humans when it's a method computers understand and when it can follow a complex set of rules.
The Federal Aviation Administration Advisory Committee says passengers can now use handheld electronics during the majority of their flight. The committee says Wi-Fi use is safe regardless of the altitude on the plane and what programs are working on the device. They don't recommend Wi-Fi usage during takeoff or landing. It is not a safety hazard if passengers ignore this rule. Attendants will have to find out if passengers are connected to the onboard Wi-Fi connection or the cell towers.
A new video game may be able to help boost brain function in seniors. The Worcester Polytechnic Institute has found that a game they designed was able to assess brain function as well as enhance cognitive abilities. The game is called Neuro Racer. Players steer a vehicle over hilly roads while looking for signs. The designers say the game improves the ability to multitask and enhances other types of brain performance. They say the game can also reverse the decline in brain function, which typically begins at about 30 years of age. Thank you for watching Valley View News. I'm Mona Adem.
And I'm Brenda Garcia. Have a fantastic day.